What up, Green Gang? We got to give a huge shout out to GrowAce.com for sending over their AirCube active oxygen grow system, which is pretty much an ebb and flow grow system that allows you to easily set it up and take it down quickly. Comes with a pretty awesome control box here. Comes with everything that you need, including 2 pumps, all the different tubings and connectors that you need. Comes with these really awesome AirCube pots where you're able to put in a fabric pot that breathes really well, and it also floods from the bottom, so it works out really well for nearly every single medium: cocoa coir, clay pellets, soil. You're gonna have to water a little less with soil compared to the other mediums, but it works with every single medium. And as you can see here, we're gonna put together the reservoir first. And having a collapsible reservoir like this is pretty awesome for people, especially like I was saying, that want to be able to take it down and put it up pretty quickly. This is really great for renters that can't, permanently change anything in their structure and may want to move their grow setup from an apartment to another apartment. So, having this grow system modular like this, anywhere from, I believe it's 6 all the way up to 36 different sites that you can use on this one controller box, and it comes with the timing and everything that you need to fully automate the watering and or feeding of your grow. So having this system along with a decent grow tent and light, with an exhaust fan and fan filter environmental controller combo thing, you have a fully automated grow setup without having to touch a line of code, without having to build a Raspberry Pi system like I have. But I highly recommend it if you guys are into the technology. And as you can see, this system comes with quite literally everything you need. It's packed up really well, and it comes with high detailed color manuals for each section for the reservoir and for the controller box and the 6 sites that you can hook up to it. And what's cool about this is that once you understand the system, it's really actually quite easy to add on even more buckets or sites to the system. So the first thing we're going to put together is the reservoir, and it's actually quite easy. The main thing that you want to look out for when putting this reservoir together is making sure that the bottom spigot that attaches to the reservoir has both of the rubber gaskets, and it's tightened and sealed well. And when you go to fill it up, you want to make sure that that spigot is off, because if you go to fill up the reservoir with the spigot open, you're just going to have the water pour out all over the ground. So here's that spigot valve I was talking about. And if you take off the nut off the one end, you'll notice that there's 2 different rubber O-rings or washers that come with this. And you're going to want to have one on the inside and one on the outside, making sure that you have a good seal on this spigot, because 60 gallons can create a decent amount of pressure, and you want to make sure that it's not leaking. So as you can see, one O-ring on the outside. Watch out, Tay. And then the other O-ring and the nut goes on the inside. Tay, she's always a good helper. She's never in the way. Now, it is a little difficult when this is all folded up to kind of shoot and get that in camera, but it's literally just holding one side while screwing the other side down and making sure that, like I said before, it's super important that both of those O-rings are on both the inside and outside. Now these are the structural poles that hold up the collapsible reservoir, and you're going to want to make sure that the conjoining piece there is pushed onto the pipe rather hard, because if it's not fully set in there, the piping will be too long and it won't line up nearly as well. And you want to make sure when you are putting these in here that it lines up directly in the little piece of plastic. It has a little circle piece of plastic at the bottom that the little pole lines up into, and you're going to want to make sure it lines up in there. And once you have it through the top, you can use these little cap screws, these 3-4 inch cap screws, and it screws and locks the pole in place. And then you're just going to do that 6 times all the way around the reservoir. And then the easiest way to set up the different sites is to set the sites down in the tent or in the space you're going to use it in, and approximately the spacing that you would like. And next you're going to want to take the rubber O-rings and the T fittings that they give you, and you want to put an O-ring and a T fitting in each one of these 6 site containers. This is what floods it and also allows it to drain. Next, we're going to set up the controller bucket a little bit more. Now it comes with 4 of these plugs, and you're going to want to plug up 4 of the different areas on the bottom here, because we're only going to be using 2. Now if you're going to expand this to the 24 or 36 site system, that's when you would take out those plugs and end up using those different holes in order to expand your system. Next, we're going to put a couple straight pieces in the top, and then prepare the pump. Now this is the drain pump that goes inside the control box, and you're going to want to screw on the largest adapter that it comes with. And then it also has a bunch of different suction cups that you're going to want to put on the bottom of it, so when you put the pump in the control box, it stays in place where you put it. This is a nice touch because that way you can get the drain tube or drain pump tube the shortest length possible, and whenever you have short runs when it comes to pumps, that's the better option. That way it doesn't have to work as hard. And then once you have the pump inside the control bucket, you want to plug it into the control box there where it says drain outlet. And then you're going to want to put a piece of tube from the bottom here, from the pump, to one of the 2 straight connectors that we put in the top of the container here. Now this is nice, a little touch, and make sure that the wires don't get clamped down when you go to close the control box. Nice and clean wire management. Now we're going to need a couple of more straight pieces on the bottom of the bucket. This is for the input and output to the 6 different sites. And now we have the control bucket set up. We need to make sure that we have the vacuum brake installed on the output of the pump inside of the reservoir. This way there is no siphon that would accidentally start happening and overflow your control bucket. You just poke a hole in there, and they give you this little 90-degree elbow piece that you can stick right inside the tubing, and it makes a little vacuum break so that a siphon doesn't accidentally occur. And zip up the reservoir, that way nothing falls in it. And then the last step after you have the control box set up and the reservoir set up is plumbing in the different containers. Now the easiest way to do that is to attach the tubing directly to the control box first, and then line up the tubing to the different sites that you want, and cutting directly in the center of the T, because you want these tubings to seat all the way in on the connector to have a leak-free connection. Now when you get to the end and you're going to transfer to another row, you're going to want to make sure that this goes in a complete circle. So you're going to attach the last bucket in the first row to the first bucket in the second row and make this loop. Because when everything's said and done and hooked up, and these sites are right side up instead of upside down, the level of water inside the control bucket is going to be the exact level of water inside the 6 different sites when you flood and drain the system. And just move this tubing back out, and obviously it comes with much more tubing than what you need, which is good, because if you make a mistake or something, you have plenty of tubing left over to fix your mistake. We'll go ahead and cut off the extra and put it on the control box, and then hook up the drain pump from the control box to the reservoir. So what happens is when you load up the reservoir with water and flick on the switch for the timing and or manual watering, it will pump water from the reservoir into the control bucket, and then it will go out through the different 6 sites in the system up until the level which is set inside the control bucket. And then once you're going to drain the whole system via the timer, it's going to turn on the pump inside the control bucket and drain everything in the control bucket and the other 6 sites back into the reservoir. So here's a fill cycle where it's filling up from the reservoir into the control bucket. And as you can see, there's these 2 floats that determine how high the level of water gets inside the control bucket, and subsequently how high the water level gets inside the 6 different sites. Now you want minimal kinking and minimal hills to the tubing to make sure that each one of these sites gets an even amount of watering. And that's why they also give you 90-degree pieces, so that if you do need to make a 90-degree turn, you can use that situation and that 90-degree turn to make sure it doesn't kink and it's still level. I want to give huge shout out to growace.com for sending over the AirCube system, and if you guys want to check it out, there is a link down in the description and a discount code for 5% off this system if you guys want to check it out. Make sure you check out me and Lantern over on Twitch. Make sure to come back to the channel and check out the Grow series that's going to happen in this tent with the AirCube system, Mars Hydro tent, the FC6500. We're going to end up putting in some genetics in here from Damien, a few different alien crosses. So, make sure you check back and find out how this system works. Thanks for checking out the video, Green Gang, and we'll see you in the next one.